Welcome to the FNCS Grand Finals preview. We've had an intense season of trios, and after the semifinal and reboot rounds, we're finally locked in for our top 33 trios. Now get ready, we're going to talk about the top contenders in each region of NA and EU, so if you want to go ahead and skip to one or the other, go for it. It's broken down in the video below. Now, let's get right to it. We start off in Europe, and there's no better place to go than Craggy Cliffs with your current reigning FNCS champions of Hen, Chapix, and JannisZ. They went on and qualified already to this grand finals due to their placement last season, and really have not missed a beat this entire season. You would have thought, okay, they haven't played as much this season, they've kind of been slacking. No, that is absolutely not the case for this trio. This trio of Hen, Chapix, and JannisZ looks just as good, if not better, than when they won FNCS last season. They are scary good, and when I say scary, I mean it doesn't matter what ping they're on, as they're coming off a win of a trio cash cup on NA East. So 100 plus ping, these guys are still performing out of their minds. Watch out for them. The only thing that could stop them would potentially be getting contested at Craggy Cliffs. We'll have to see if that plays out. Next, we move to the trio at Dirty Docks, or as they like to call it, Danish Docks. ThomasHD, Flikk, and JannisZ come from Dirty Docks off of a great season in Season 5. In Season 6, the trio looked underwhelming compared to last season's performance, yet still able to consistently place in and around money and cash cups that they were allowed to play in. Obviously, they qualified to grands through last season, so they were not playing FNCS and therefore could not prove their dominance. Through the limited play that we've seen, this trio looks beatable, yet at the same time, their consistency, the ability, and continuity of playing together for so long is not something you could count out. I would expect this trio to show up in grand finals. Next, we move over to the German burbs, where Noahreyli, Rezon, and Vadeal look to continue to put fear into their opponents based on their aggressive and absolutely insanely mechanical playstyle. This trio is the best fighting trio in the world, hands down. You cannot convince me otherwise. Last season, they were able to auto-qualify, finishing in 3rd place in last FNCS Grand Finals. Their surge plan was simply to key teams, and it worked. They were able to walk away more often than not with a full trio wipe. This season, Noahreyli, Rezon, Vadeal have been up and down, but come those stacked lobbies, those big games, this team tends to show up, and I believe they will do so once again in this FNCS Grands. Savage, Endretta, and Refsgaard head over to Steamy Stacks. Not playing together last season, but coming together this season and working super well from the get-go. This trio has continued to perform all season and is one of the favorites outside of those top 3. Clearly, they have high caliber, big name talent. The question is going to be whether or not they can put it together in these grand finals. Both trios fell flat of where they wanted to be last season and then combined to come together and be an absolute powerhouse. Their issues will come in late game. This trio is very consistent, should be uncontested off spawn, and just needs to find a way to win a couple of matches or consistently get within the top 5. Nayte, Tayson, and Rezon came together this season and started off extremely strong, probably setting expectations way too high after they won a cash cup, then the DreamHack Cash Cup Extra in back-to-back tournaments. After that, they stumbled during the middle of the season. Nonetheless, they qualified for heats, finished on top of their heat, and looked really impressive during heats. This trio, full of former FNCS winners, is poised for victory. I would never count any of them out individually, and now they seem to be peaking at the right moment going into grand finals. NA East starts with your reigning champions, Acorn, Jahq, and Slacks. The trio went on a phenomenal run, starting with last season's FNCS, and then continued into this season with multiple Cash Cup, third-party tournaments, as well as DreamHack Cash Cup Extra wins. It was one of the best we've ever seen. Since then, the trio has cooled off. They've come back down to earth. Nonetheless, this trio is one of the strongest we've seen in a really long time. If anyone thinks that just because they haven't won a Cash Cup recently, they don't have what it takes to win Grand Finals, you're in the wrong place, buddy. Since the beginning of their career, this trio has landed at Slurpy Swamp, and it will continue this FNCS Grand Finals. The talk of the town is Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite. Everyone, I mean everyone, saw that pop-off here that we're now watching from Sprite in the reboot round for them to be able to qualify for the Grand Finals. After a battle with Bizzle, Clicks, and Bucke off spawn at Sweaty Sands, this trio was able to advance in the reboot round, their very last chance, and put themselves in a position where they are going to be contenders for this top spot. This young trio is looking to make a statement for themselves. Up next are the Low Ground Kings. Commandment, Scented, and Edgey have become the envy of other players and trios across the world, perfecting a position that was previously unwanted. This trio has performed on the low ground and made it their spot. Other trios have tried, but nobody has succeeded like this trio. They come into Grand Finals on a roll. They're placing top 10, top 5 in every single event that they play in, really proving that high ground may win games, but low ground, it is consistent, and that is how you win tournaments. We'll have to see if it holds up to the test here in FNCS Grand Finals. Reverse, Mero, and Deyy, just a season removed from their FNCS championships, return back to Dirty Docks to claim that as their home for this Grand Finals. The trio has an interesting playstyle, an aggressive one that other teams really don't like. They're a bully come mid and end game. They force teams into positions where they don't feel comfortable and will just follow the tarps of other trios in a beautiful fashion. Mero and Deyy frag out, and Reverse lays down a beautiful tarp and position for his trio. The combination works so well that this trio has continued to succeed 2 seasons in a row. This is now the 3rd season of them playing together, and I would expect nothing less of a championship for these trios. They want it, and they can do it. Degen, Ajerss, and Skqttles have become one of the top trios in North America. After finishing in 6th last Grand Finals, this trio looks to perform even better. They've created a split that goes from Orchard to the Spire Tower all the way north. This gives them incredible loot, but also leaves them super vulnerable to sneak attacks from Steamy Stacks. We'll have to see if they have a game plan to prevent that from happening. Nonetheless, this trio is incredibly skilled, has the chemistry of playing together for multiple seasons, and are just such clean and smart players. You rarely see this trio make mistakes, especially come endgame. They're consistently one of the last teams alive, and their consistency is what's going to prove them better than the rest. Mackwood, Bucke, and Khanada returned to Craggy Cliffs for the first time in FNCS since last Grand Finals, thanks to a little clutch in the final match of the previous FNCS Grands. They now look to continue that success. After a 3rd placement in last Grand Finals, this trio wants more. 3rd place is not good enough. This trio is hungry for 1st and will accept nothing less. Now, the only thing standing in their way is 32 other trios. They have a very successful playstyle, which allows them to adapt and play any layer in endgame that they want. We've seen them play high ground, we've seen them play low ground, and will consistently be found on the mid ground looking to own both of the other positions. Now it's a matter of whether or not they can do it here in these grand finals. That's it for our FNCS Grand Finals preview. Tons of trios, 33 in fact, will be participating in both EU and NA. We could go on to talk about several more trios. A couple I just want to throw some honorable mentions to. In EU, Floki, Clement, and Deceptos, and Flois, Kaiser, and Hellfire. Then, in NA, Tabne, Chimp, and Teo, Jamper, Rise, and Threats. 2 more trios, and I can continue to highlight more. There's a reason that all of these trios have made grand finals. It is going to be quite the intense battle come this weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to click that subscribe button. My name is Somebody's Gun. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.